Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Molehill Mountain, where every single thing we talk about is super duper important, which is why we can't seem to keep this damn show to an hour. So, Andrew Eisen here, and along with me is Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Well, I lost 5 hours of progress in Yakuza 4 last weekend. We were doing I was playing Yakuza 4. This is me pantomiming playing the game. And I was like, oh, crap, podcast time. So I paused the game. I set it down, did the podcast, finished the podcast, and noticed that my PS3 had completely powered itself off. Just said, oh, you haven't touched anything for an hour and a half. Even though you're in the middle of a game and you haven't saved in 5 hours, we're just going to turn off the console. Well, I found that rather vexing. So lost 5 hours of progress through that. Now, to be fair, there is an option in the settings menu somewhere, and you can turn that off. It does default on, which is stupid. And to be fair, this is not just PlayStation 3. The Wii U has the same exact function. I don't know if it defaults on or off. Mine is currently off, so it either defaults that way or I happened to see it 4 years ago and turned it off, or however long the Wii U's been out, 3 and some years. Here's my thought. A video game console should never auto power down if a game is running, unless it has the ability to create a save state.
Yeah.
For example, if I'm watching a movie on DVD or Blu-ray, and there's a power outage, or I shut the thing off, or I leave it paused and it shuts off itself, I don't have to rewatch the entire movie up to that point. It actually just starts playing at that point, so I don't really care. But a video game, unless it's creating a save state, I lost 5 hours of progress. Matthew says,
Yeah,
and whose
that
fault is
sucks.
that? It's Sony's for turning off the system after an hour or whatever of idleness, which is stupid. It's stupid. Because I shouldn't have to save the game just in case the console... I didn't know the console was going to power itself off. Why would it do that? Under what circumstances would that ever be okay? Sometimes stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh crap, I have a podcast now. I'll just pause it and set it aside and start playing it again later. Or someone drops by unannounced, like, oh, mom visited. Or, you know what, I'm hungry, I think I'll go out to eat. Or, I don't have any food in my pantry and Trader Joe's is about to close, I better leave now. Pause. So... write that down on the video game commandment list. Thou shalt not automatically power down the console unless you're creating a save state for when there's a game running, unless you're creating a save state first.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I've only ever had that problem once that I can remember, and it was back when I was a kid. I was playing Gauntlet 2 on the NES, and I was playing with my brothers, and we wanted to see how far we could get into the game, because the game never ends. There is no end to Gauntlet 2. It's like you just keep going through the levels, and then the levels repeat. And I think we got to like level 120 something, and it was getting really late, so we decided to go to sleep. And so we paused the game, and we went to bed. And then when we got up, the NES had reset itself. It didn't power off because the power, it had an analog power button, so it couldn't power itself off. But it somehow decided to reset itself, and that ticked us off because we wanted to keep playing the game and keep going in it. But yeah, that's the only time I can remember being screwed by an auto reset, auto shut off feature. But yeah, I've never seen that problem. Or I've never had that problem since. I don't even know if I'm pretty sure I turned that feature off on my PlayStation 3, or either that or it either that or mine defaulted to not auto shut off, because I know it doesn't shut off because my kids will leave Minecraft running for hours and nobody's playing it, and the PS3 is still going, and so yeah, it's a dumb feature that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, go into a low power mode or something like that. Yeah, I mean, if it's running a movie, fine, whatever, because I can just start the movie where I left off. If it's in the PSN store, make a bookmark of what page I was on and turn off. It's fine. I'll just go back to the store. Not a big deal. If it's on the dashboard, who cares? I'll just turn on the system again and I'm right back on the dashboard. But I lost 5 hours of progress, which I was able to redo in probably 2.5 the time, because I just thump through the dialogue because I'd already heard it. Or read it in the case of Yakuza, because it's in Japanese and I don't understand most of it. I need the subtitles. So, still a great game, though. Funniest damn thing happened in the game. For those of you who don't know the game at all, it's essentially a brawler with art. Why is this moving so much? Why is the camera... Is my monitor not sitting straight? Sorry. I just noticed that the image is shaking a lot, and...
You having an earthquake over there?
No, I have my feet up on the desk, and I'm kind of kicking my feet, and it was just... I guess my monitor was just sitting wrong. It was shaking. Yeah. I apologize for that. Anyway, Yakuza's... the main mechanic of the game is it's a brawler. Every problem you come across is solved by punching it in the face. So, thugs and Yakuza and hooligans approaching the street, and they're like, "Give me your money." You punch them in the face. You're dating a girl in the hostess club, and she has a stalker. You track him down, and you punch him in the face. There's a person who ate a meal at the yakisoba stand and ran off without paying. Chase him down and punch him in the face. So every single problem is resolved by basically knocking sense into people. Is there a guy drunk and trying to take a drunk guy trying to take a nap in the middle of the street? Well, I mean, people are going to trip over him. Beat him up until he's sober. He goes away. Now, so at this point in the game, I'm playing a police officer from the Safety Council, Safety Commission, however it's translated. And there's a jumper, a person who's standing on the edge of a building. Is like, "I'm going to jump." It's like, guess I'm going to have to go up there and beat some sense into him. So I go up on the roof, and naturally it plays out exactly the way you expect it going to. "No, life is terrible. No, life is worth living, and I'm going to hit you in the head until you realize it. Can't have you jumping off the roof and causing a scene. I'm going to beat you up, Mr. Depressed." Now, here's the thing. This game has contextual special moves. So if you grab a guy by the, by the scruff of the neck, if you're standing by a wall, you'll slam his head into the wall. If you're standing by a car, you'll like smash his head into the hood of the car. If you're standing by a guardrail, you'll pick him up and you'll drop his back over the guardrail. If you happen to be on a roof, you will chuck his ass straight off the roof.
So you're here to save this guy from the roof, jumping off the roof by throwing him off the building.
And it just so happens, so it's like, oh my gosh, a jumper. Well, we can't have that. It would cause a scene. So I go up there, have a quick conversation with him. He's like, "I'm going to jump." "No, you're not." "Well, I think life is not worth living." "Well, I'm going to teach you that it is." And I picked him up. I chucked his ass right off the roof. "You ain't going to jump off this roof. I'm going to throw you off." Oh, God, I was laughing my ass off. And the funny thing is when you do these special moves, the camera zooms in and it goes into slow motion. So you hear the voices go, and it does the anime colorful streaky effects type of thing. So this guy's, going over the end. But then it fades back into from combat mode into regular mode, and the guy's just laying on the rooftop. I don't know if he bounced back up or if I went downstairs and dragged his ass back up to the roof so I could have a talk with him. But I don't think the programmers really thought that one through, really, or maybe they did and just didn't care. But he ends up right back on the roof, and he's like, "Okay, I've learned my lesson. I'll not jump off the roof." But oh god, I was laughing myself silly because it's like, oh, you're not going to chuck his ass right off the roof. No punches, no nothing. I just immediately grabbed him and threw him off the roof. I was like, this is like Lethal Weapon the game. This is great. So that's my my Yakuza story for this week, and I will probably keep talking about these damn games. Next is Yakuza Dead Souls, which I wrote a story on Random Tower this week that talked a little bit about it. It's a zombies have infested the town, and the game is, instead of a brawler, it's now a shooter. Now you have to shoot the zombies that have infested the lovely little burg of Kamurocho. But from what I understand, it's still a full Yakuza game with all the weird mini games and hours and hours of gameplay. Most of the reviews I've read have been unkind to it. I don't know if it's because it's too different. It sounds like I should probably just stop putting my feet up on the desk because this is shaking like mad. Most of the reviews have said that the shooting mechanics are a little touchy. They don't work really that well. But I'm in deep enough to this series where I'm willing to at least try it. I mean, it only costs like, I think $13, $14 on Amazon. It's really cheap, so I'm going to pick it up and try it anyway. Okay. I already bought 5, which was the digital only release, and that's installed on my PS3. So if Dead Souls or whatever it's called really, really sucks, well, I'll just move right on to 5, I suppose. 13U Cube says, headbutt Toadette in the crotch, punch him in the face. Yeah. So what have you been playing this week?
This week, not much. I've been super busy. But I decided that since I didn't have time to just sit down and play a new game, I would just play more It'll Do while I was, during those moments where I have like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever to play. And I managed to, the game, I think I described this last week, but the game has 3 weapons, a fire sword, an ice wand, and a portal wand. And only 2 of which, any 2, are required to beat the game. And so that's what I decided to do. So this past week, I completed the game using just the fire sword and the portal wand, and the boss, the final boss, it actually plays different than if you have all 3 items. So that was unexpected. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to defeat these, or how to beat these other segments with just these 2. Since I don't have the ice wand, I can't use that. And so I was just trying to figure out how to do all this in my head, and then I was like, and then I actually got to the boss fight, and the segments that I was worried about weren't even in there. So I was like, okay, well that makes things a little easier. And so I finished that up and actually beat the game in an hour and a half, whereas the other time I played it, when I beat it last week, it took me about 5 hours to complete. But that was completing all the optional dungeons and stuff too. So, and learning all the puzzles, or trying to remember all the puzzles, because I beat the game before a while back. But yeah, so I got through with just the fire sword and the portal wand, and beat it that way. And now I'm going to do a Portal Wand and Ice Wand run through. And I decided to get the Ice Wand, which is the most expensive item. The game has 900 gold altogether, and it's split between the three items, spending it between the three items. It's 200 to get the sword, 300 to get the portal wand, and 400 to get the ice wand. And I decided to buy the ice wand first, and which is the most expensive one. And now I'm back in there, and I got the ice wand, and now I'm back in there trying to find 300 gold, whereas I only have, I think, 100, maybe 200. I can't remember. And so, and I can't figure out how to progress at this point, because it's like every every puzzle that I come across requires either the fire sword or the portal wand in order to complete it. And here I am trying to get all these other items, or get through this with just this ice wand. And I just found some tips on the Steam forums for progressing with just the ice wand, or just the ice wand. So that will be helpful. Hopefully I can get through it. And I think once I complete this run through, I think that's probably going to be the last time I play this game for a while. It is fun to play, and I like it. I wanted to play, I mentioned that Anima game last week, and I wanted to play that this week. But unfortunately, the game's Linux version is not ready yet. The game released yesterday on Steam for Windows, but they were hoping to get the Linux version out that same day release, but apparently they were having some issues, and so the Linux version won't be out until like the end of this month. So that kind of sucked, but I might fish out a Windows computer and try playing it that way, so I can give it a shot and maybe write a review of it. But I was hoping to do it on Linux though.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the bucket list, let's do a quick topic here, and that is
right.
Nintendo has updated and expanded on its E3 plans. So prior to a couple days ago, back in the beginning of May, so about a month ago, Nintendo announced that The Legend of Zelda, the new one, which is coming to Wii U and NX in March, will be the only game playable on at Nintendo's booth, and will be the focus of its show, which it only stated that it would have a Treehouse Live event on Tuesday, June 14th. And the only thing they announced was Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda will be focused. There will be Reggie Fils-Aimé will introduce the Treehouse Live segment, which will be dedicated to a day of live streaming The Legend of Zelda with an in-depth first look and commentaries from Nintendo developers and all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't mean there wouldn't be any other games ever discussed or talked about or shown. It just didn't say there would be. It didn't say there would be a second day, but it did certainly say that Zelda would be the only playable game. Well, a couple days ago, Nintendo announced that there will indeed be a second day, and so the first day will show off Pokemon Sun and Moon, followed by Legend of Zelda, which will apparently continue with all the Zelda live streaming and behind-the-scenes info and developer interviews and all that kind of stuff. The second day will start with a presentation of Pokemon Go, which is the mobile game, and a Q&A session for that. And then Nintendo Treehouse Live will showcase upcoming games such as Monster Hunter Generations, Dragon Quest VII, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. So, That's a little bit more. So we do know there are at least 2 days to Nintendo's presentation, and we do know that we will have at least a couple more games. So we'll see and be able to, if you're at the show, be able to play Zelda.
Yeah.
But we should see all the Pokemons, Pokemon Go, the mobile thing, and the Sun and Moon for the 3DS. And they'll also show off Monster Hunter Generations, which is a 3DS game, which irritates me because it should be on the console.
Yeah.
Capcom. Dragon Quest VII, again, 3DS, which I would just much rather play on a console. And Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, which comes out, I think, the following week. It's already out in Japan, but it comes out here, I think, the 20-something. So it's like the next week. So that will be releasing soon. Interestingly, still no mention of Paper Mario Hammer Paint Splash, whatever the hell it's called, the new Wii U Paper Mario. So I'm sticking with the prediction I made a couple months ago that Paper Mario is probably being moved to NX. Now, that said, from what we've seen so far, so we've got still a focus on Zelda. Zelda's the only playable game. We've got at least 2 days of live streaming. And we'll have mostly Zelda, but we'll also have Monster Hunter Generations, Dragon Quest VII, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Is that enough? What do you think?
Seems a little light, but for Nintendo, that might be enough. I don't see. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can't think of any other games that. Any games that they've actually mentioned or are rumored to be coming out to that they could show.
Where is the incredibly highly anticipated Metroid Prime Federation Force? You know everyone's looking forward to that.
Well, see, that one, I think it would be nice to actually show and have playable so that people can actually get over themselves. But I just can't think of any other games that.
Well, there's there's Paper Mario. If that's still a Wii U game, maybe they'll bring that in for a surprise. I mean, if that's really a Wii U game and it's really coming out in the summer, it seems really odd that in the summer or even the very early fall. It seems just really odd that it wouldn't be at E3. Unless Nintendo is planning another event later in the year, but that would seem to be more like it would focus on NX and probably the next mobile games, the Animal Crossing Fire Emblem. So that's why I'm getting the sense that Paper Mario Color Splash, or whatever it's called, is probably just been moved to the NX. And it makes sense because even a fanboy like me can admit that the Wii U is over. Sorry. I mean, there are some things. I mean, I'm looking forward to localization changes be damned. Silly as they are, I am looking forward to Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. I'm going to get
a long name.
I love the Sharp. I love the fact that they kept Sharp FE on it. There's still Lego Force Awakens, Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. There's Mario versus Sonic at the Rio Games for those who care. Although watching Bowser ribbon dance is pretty awesome. And that's about it. Lost Reavers is out, and that's a little free to play game. There are a bunch of there's some eShop left that's going to be out for the rest of the year. Some exclusive to Wii U, most of it not. But there are some good eShop titles, and Shantae Half Genie Hero is getting a physical release. That's really cool. I like the Shantae games. So there's some stuff, but for the most part, the Wii U's. I think I said this on Twitter the other day. I said if it weren't for what the hell did I say? I might have to look at Twitter. I forgot what I said. And it was insightful too. Let me see if I can find that.
Sure it was.
Oh, that's what it was. I'm getting the sense that if it weren't for the handheld, if it weren't for the 3DS, Nintendo probably would have just said, you know what, screw it, we'll see y'all in 2017. But because it's like, why even show it as exciting? Oh, a day full of Zelda. It's like, yeah, but it's not coming out till March 2017 at the earliest. It's like, yay, this looks great. Can't play it for over half a year if it doesn't get delayed again.
Yeah.
Quickly, 13U Cube asks, is there any merit to the NX VR rumor? That rumor being that one of the reasons, at least, that the NX was delayed from this fall to March 2017 is to add VR support.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah. At best, I would think that maybe. Do you think Nintendo would be open to making the NX compatible with various virtual reality headsets like the Oculus Rift and whatever Steam's is called? Like they're not making their own helmet. It's just like, yeah, but VR will work on the NX. If you have the helmet, go ahead and play it.
Yeah, I don't know. Nintendo doesn't seem to be the type of company to, to just be that open with with their APIs. So, companies have done third party accessories, things like Rock Band and UDraw and that kind of stuff, but they've all been general, they've all been accessories used for specific games, whereas VR would be something that would be open for any game to take advantage of, and that doesn't seem to be the thing that Nintendo would do, as far as what my impression of the company is. So I don't think they would. If they were going to do VR, they would be doing it themselves.
Yeah, that would be very following the leader, and that's uncharacteristic of Nintendo. Yeah. Not to say that that can't happen, but I think the delay was probably more along the lines of it's just not ready yet and there aren't any games. Yeah. And especially when the developers who are willing to talk, which to be fair are the smaller developers, not indies, but the smaller developers like Toys for Bob, Ready at Dawn, good studios, make some great games. Some, but we haven't really heard from EA and Ubisoft and Activision and those. But Toys for Bob and Ready at Dawn and someone else went on record as saying we have no idea what the NX is.
Yeah,
and it's like now, at this point, I mean, and that's really scary. It would be nice if Nintendo would say, "Look, folks, we have developers out there. They're working on games. Trust us," because man, it's scary. The NX is apparently 10 months or so from launch, and no one knows what it is. I mean, it's okay if I don't know what it is, but when every developer that's willing to go on record is saying we have no idea what the hell it is, that's concerning.
Yeah. Now, Matthew says that the VR would require Nintendo make powerful enough hardware to use it, and there's no reason why they aren't making that. The PS4 and the Xbox One are both powerful enough to run a version of VR that they're developing. So, and there's no indication that the NX is going to be significantly less powerful than those two systems. The Wii itself is on par, with the PS3 and the 360. And so why would Nintendo pull a Wii again, I guess is my question. There's no benefit for them to undercut their power or to make the console less powerful than the other systems on there.
If the NX, now this depends on what the hook or the gimmick or whatever you want to call it of the system is. Unless this is some lightning in a bottle Wii-esque captures the world's imagination type of gimmick or selling feature, if the system is significantly less powerful than the current crop of consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One, which have been out on shelves for over 2 years now, Nintendo's done. No one's
Yeah.
going to make any games for it. We're
Yeah.
going to have pretty much the Wii U all over again, and that was really the biggest problem with the Wii U was no games, or very few third-party games. I mean, the for everything but Wii U list, 300 games.
Yeah.
300 games that could technically, if they bothered, put them on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would be surprised if the NX was genuinely less powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One. I would be. I'm coasting by on the assumption, founded or not, that the NX will be at least as powerful as the PS4 and Xbox One. Actually, I would, if I had to guess, I would say on par with PS4 and Xbox One. I would be surprised if it were actually significantly more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One. That'd be lovely to be surprised, but
Yeah,
man, I remember watching the first Wii U game footage that we saw, which I think was Pikmin 3. And we were like, okay, let's see what it can do. All right, okay, here's Pikmin 3. Oh. Yeah, okay. So that's what the Wii U is. It's a PS3 and Xbox 360 level. The PS3 and the 360 came out at that point 6 and 7 years earlier. So it's like, oh, yeah. I don't know what Iwata, rest his soul, but I don't know what Iwata was talking about. I never once said wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I think with the Wii U, they probably didn't want to go significantly more powerful because that had the potential to not be attractive to developers because they would have to make upscale graphics and everything for the more powerful Wii U and then reduce the resolution whatever for everything to get it on the Xbox 360 and PS3. So that's not or make games that didn't take advantage of the Wii U's more powerful hardware. So I can understand why they went that route. But with the NX coming out, I think, and I don't think that the PS4 and the Xbox One, even the new versions, the 1.5 and the 4K or whatever they are, I don't think those are going to be that much more powerful that it's going to undercut or steal the thunder of the NX.
No, I think that the PS4K and Xbox 1.5 or whatever the hell they end up being called will be more along the lines of what we saw with like the DS and the DS Lite. They're both DSs, but one is better hardware than the other. So I don't think we will see many, if any, PS4K or Xbox 1.5 exclusive titles. I don't think that's what Microsoft or Sony are going for. I think they're going for, here's a new version of the hardware that will allow you to run the games in 4K if you have a TV for it. I think that's probably what they're going for.
Xbox 1.5 is 4 times the Xbox One. I don't know what you're talking about there. You're saying 4 times as powerful? It's like
in what respect?
Yeah, in what respect? Because there's no way Microsoft is going to do that. That's just not going to make anybody happy. For one, it's going that much more powerful is going to vastly increase the manufacturing cost of the system, which means they are going to make even less money per system because they can't really release something like that and keep it the same price without really losing money. But 4 times as powerful GPU, that doesn't make sense either, because the GPU right now is a 1 gig GPU, isn't it? So I don't see them going with a 4 gig GPU.
Again, it kind of depends on exactly what 4 times the speed, memory size. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. E3 is actually in like 2 weeks, which just snuck up right on me. I'm like, Gypsy Brigade, when you get a chance, you said NX, you'd buy the NX if it had a better controller. What is wrong with, what don't you like about this? What bothers you about this? I genuinely don't understand why people have a problem with this controller. 2 analog sticks, 4 buttons, 4 shoulder buttons.
It's not shaped like an Xbox 360
It has exactly
controller.
the same functionality as a regular DualShock or any of the other controllers, just with extra features like a touchscreen, NFC reader, mic, all kinds of weird stuff. Now, if you literally find this controller uncomfortable to hold, okay, that makes sense, sure. But I've heard people say that it's like, oh, you just can't use these, like they're talking about the the Wii remote. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, there's nowhere near the amount of buttons or flexibility that you have with a standard pad, but this does. It feels so unnatural compared to any other controller I've used. Well, I mean, okay, if ergonomically speaking, you just don't like the way it feels in your hands, okay. Me personally, I think the button and the stick should switch places. But other than that, this fits in my hands, and I have slightly larger than average hands anyway. But I don't know. I've never found this controller. It's not heavy. To me, it's not uncomfortable. Its battery life sucks, but it does come with a battery charger, so it's not that big a deal. But oh well. So yeah, let us move on to a new topic. And that's the bucket list. So let's kick the bucket list real quick. These are all vacation spots. So have you ever been to Las Vegas?
No.
Really? You've never been to Vegas?
Nope, never been there. I always joke with my wife. It's like, let's run off to Vegas this weekend, but no, it's just never been there. I lived out in Tempe, Arizona for a little while I was going to college, and never made it out further that way. So, yeah. I just don't have. I don't really have an interest in going to Vegas.
Not a gambler, huh?
No.
I've been to Vegas several times. It's worth going just to see it, I suppose. And I've been there once on New Year's Eve, and that's a thing. They close off the entire strip. It's all foot traffic, and it's kind of like it's nowhere near what I'm sure Times Square on New Year's Eve is, but it's damn close.
Yeah,
just a massive throng of people out in this street. I like Vegas. It's got. I'm not a gambler because I lose, but I do like a lot of the attractions there. So, and my grandparents on my father's side lived in Vegas for quite a while, so there was an excuse to go up there visit Granddad. Let's see. Ever been to Washington D.C.?
Yes, I went there with the ECA once. We went and talked with a bunch of politicians, staffers. Did we? Oh, we actually talked to one politician, Jared Paulus. And yeah, we just went there, just talk about issues that, that video gamers and game developers find important, mostly around the DMCA, copyright law, patent law, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't really get to do any sightseeing though, which would be nice to do.
Mm.
But
I have been to DC, and two things really stuck out in my mind, and that's how artificially green the grass is. I don't know if they spray paint that stuff or if they've just got some massive miracle grow stuff going on, but that is some unnaturally green grass. Also, I was kind of amazed by the sheer number of hot dog vendors that are out on the street in DC. You don't see that much. You see the White House and all the landmarks in the movies. You never see the hot dog carts, and they are everywhere. At least they were when I was there. I also did lay the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is a thing that very few people get to do. So, yay me!
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a Boy Scouts thing, and there's a whole
Nice.
yeah. You basically you take a wreath and you walk it over there. You set it down and you salute and you walk back. It's no big deal, but it's a thing they do. I'm not sure if they do it every day or I forget now. It's been 20 years. So, yeah, but that's something I did. Have you ever been to Nashville?
No, 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 no interest in going. So,
My mom and her husband live in Cadiz, Kentucky. So when I visit them, I fly into Nashville. So I've been to Nashville many, many times. I have the only time I've ever really stayed in the city is when I competed at the international convention in 2009, 7, 8, somewhere around there.
yeah.
I think we won that one too. Did we win Nashville? I think we won in Nashville. I think Indianapolis was the year before, and we got silver, and then we got gold the next year. So that's a barbershop, by the way, if anyone was wondering. So international gold medalist for chorus, not for quartet. I have been top 10 in district, though, for quartet. Have you ever been to Florida?
No, I have not.
Jordan asks, have you ever been out of your house?
Yes, I have. I just don't have money or time to go on vacations to these vacation spots. So, no, never been to Florida. What about you?
Yeah, I've been to Florida, and I was there in June, I think, which is probably one of the worst times of year to actually visit Florida because it is hot and muggy and absolutely damned miserable.
Yeah.
But I did visit. I was there for work. I forget what specifically. I think I was checking out one of our offices down there, and but I had plenty of free time, so I invited my mom down, and we went to Busch Gardens, I think, which is kind of a zoo slash theme park. And mom got sick and barfed all over the place, so. So we went to Denny's and sat in the air conditioning. And it was mainly just because of the weather, because it's so amazingly hot and muggy. It's just sticky and you feel gross. It's
I
terrible.
can imagine, you got ocean on both sides and then you've got swampland all throughout. So, yeah. So I can...
I went to Matthew lives in Florida. I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm so sorry. What is wrong with most of the people in your state? It's funny. Although you read something weird, a man does weird thing, and you're like, was it Florida? Yeah, it was Florida. Of course, it was Florida. It's always Florida. And it's probably
it's all the swamp gases
in danger of being eaten by 16-foot alligators. Yeah, I'm sure at other times of year, Florida is lovely, but man, when I went there, it was just miserable. And Matthew says he's from New York, so yeah, New York is another place with weather. There are certain times of year you don't want to be there. I've heard of people getting so cold that they started crying, and then their tears froze on their face, and it hurt. All right, last one. Have you ever been to Mexico?
Nope. I'm terrible. I think in the future we could just skip all these vacation questions because
Well,
it's a pretty good
that's
chance
actually
I've never been there.
yeah, that's pretty much the last one. So next week we'll move into some different stuff. But yes, I have been to Mexico once, I think, but I was like really, really little. My parents were still married, so I was definitely 4 or younger. But I do remember the dune buggies. We had little 4-wheel ATVs that we went driving around on the sand. That I remember, even being 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah,
Um, I have not been back since, and I've had no desire to go, even though I am less than 20-minute drive from Tijuana. I'm in San Diego, by the way. I am literally a stone's. If you can throw a stone about 20 miles, I am a stone's throw from Mexico. I really have no desire to go down there, even though gas, liquor, and fireworks are cheaper and legal. Uh, Mainly because and this is not an exaggeration, every single person I know in the last 10, 15 years or however long I've been here who has gone to Mexico has had some experience like they've been mugged or kidnapped or there was a shooting near them. And I'm like, this does not sound like a place I want to visit. I mean, Harold, a guy I work with, he's like, yeah, we went down to the Mexico office and we made sure to stick with the people in our company down there, and we got held up. I'm like, oh my God, man, I'm never going down there. It sounds
yeah.
terrible.
Huh.
Which is not to say that all people who live in Mexico are criminals, just that everyone I know has had a run-in with a really bad experience in
Yeah,
Mexico in the last several years, and I don't want that.
yeah.
So,
All right. Well,
have you been to the grocery store?
so just so people get an idea of where I have been. Okay, I've been to Texas, various places of in Texas. I've been to Jefferson, Texas, Austin, Dallas, Wichita Falls, and Amarillo. I've been to New Mexico, specifically Roswell, New Mexico. I went to the UFO museum there and their quote zoo, which it was really small, and then to the White Sands National Park down there, which is like right in the middle of a military testing missile testing ground. But the White Sands National Park is really awesome. If you ever get the chance to go see that, and then I've been to Arizona, just the Phoenix metropolitan area, and Tucson, and I lived near Salt Lake back when I was very young. We moved to back to Oklahoma when I was 4, turning 5, for a short time. I lived in California when I was like a baby, so I don't remember anything. I don't even remember where in California we lived. And then I've been to Kansas, I've been to Missouri, Illinois, and I think I've been to Ohio. But most of those trips were specifically church trips because there's historical sites in Missouri, Illinois, and Ohio for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I've been to those places. I've been in the Chicago O'Hara Airport on my way to England, where I had spent some time in England and Wales, specifically the Liverpool area, and then Wales, North Wales. So yeah, that's trying to think if I've been anywhere else. I've been all over Oklahoma too. So can you really call your home state?
As Matthew points out, generally the Midwest.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that's really it. I'd like to go skiing sometime. You go out to either Utah or Colorado and do some skiing. That would be nice. I've never been. My parents went skiing while I was in England without me, so I was a little miffed. But
I went skiing once, and I fell off of the chairlift.
Ooh,
Let me
that
let me uh, let
sucks.
me clarify that. I fell over when trying to get off of the chairlift.
Okay, so
And
you
I got
didn't
stuck. So
drop the
right, I
100
didn't
feet.
drop like
Yeah.
100 feet to the ground. I tried to. What you're supposed to do is put your feet down and let the chair just kind of stand you up. I tried
Yeah.
to actually stand up and just fell forward, and then the chair hit me in the back of the head. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
the skiing's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us move on to a new topic, and the new topic, censorship, um,
Woo!
which is our favorite topic and
Yeah.
the most important thing that could possibly be discussed. So NIS or NIS, I'm really not sure if it's supposed to be NIS or NIS.
I think it's NIS because it's
And,
all capitals. So
okay, so NIS America had a blog post earlier this week about a game it's bringing over to North American Europe for the PlayStation Vita this fall called Criminal Girls 2 Party Favors. Um, I did not have a chance to really look at gameplay videos. I was looking for actual information on how these games play, and I'm not totally sure exactly how it works. As far as I can tell, remember the face petting mini game from the Fire Emblem, the recent Fire Emblem that got yanked from the North
yeah.
American release? It seems
Uh-huh.
like it's kind of like that. It's a dungeon crawler where you are responsible for these girls who are in hell for being really sinful, and you have to dungeon crawl with them, but you have to punish them to unlock their fighting potential so that they can beat demons and things, I guess. And how you
Yeah.
punish them is by tapping on their various states of undress while they say, yeah. And you keep tapping them in the butt or the chest or wherever until they've been sufficiently punished and unlock a new move that they can use to dungeon crawl. So it's molest women the dungeon crawler, I guess.
Yeah.
So it is the molesting game is not coming to America unmolested. That was right off the top of my head. So NIS America did a blog post, and I have to say I am very NIS. Thank you for being upfront about what localization changes you have made. Unlike
Yeah.
some other companies we could name, Nintendo. Um, so NIS says, okay, here are the things that we have changed. Some of the art has been redrawn. Looking at the sample they gave, it looks like they've just removed the bindings from around the half-naked women, because there's a picture of a girl who is uh, sitting there with her arms behind her back, and there's a rope around her chest. In the new image, same exact position, no rope. Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
we've changed some of the imagery there. There has been a terminology change. Punishment has now been reframed as motivation. So you're not punishing the girls. You're giving them a motivating slap. All right. Um,
Uh,
there is no native language dialogue. That's not really a change. That means we're just not dubbing it into English. So the
yeah.
original Japanese language track is still there. There's English subtitles.
And
That's
that
not
makes sense
censorship.
for like a vast majority of games. It's so much cheaper to do it that
Oh
way.
yeah. And although it is pretty fun to hire voice actors to come in and redub the yeah dialogue, it's like okay, now say no in an overtly sexualized way. Record. It's like I feel dirty. So the fourth thing is no motivation scene dialogue. So motivation are the punishment scenes where you're poking and where you're essentially just going, "This is how you play the game. I'm motivating you." Um, so in the original Japanese, the girls go, "Yeah," oh, ah," and moan and cry and stuff like that. That in the original Japanese is not actually subtitled. Because it's not subtitled, there's no actual subtitle text to replace with English text. So unless they actually wrote some type of new engine that added subtitles to scenes that did not initially, because how localization typically works is they're not adding a subtitle track. There was a Japanese subtitle track. They just replace all the Japanese characters with English letters, right? In places where there was no subtitling, usually in like when you're walking through a town in an RPG and the NPC characters are milling around and yelling stuff like bagels for sale, that's usually not subtitled. If you've played Xenoblade Chronicles, when you get in a fight with people, with monsters and stuff, your characters will yell things like "Gambatene," and that's not subtitled. There was no subtitle there, so they couldn't replace the subtitle with English text. So you just hear your characters crying, "Go for it!" in Japanese, and you get the idea what they're saying. But so that's why this is not subtitled. Here's the thing, though. The original dialogue has been removed. So not only is not only is that not subtitled, that voice clip has been taken away. So your girls are now motivated. They take their motivation quietly now, which in some sense is a little bit creepier to me. I don't know. You know, poking a girl in the butt and making her, you know, coo and ah and yeah and all that is one thing, but you know, poking a girl in the butt and having her just kind of stare at you is a little unnerving to me. Now, why has NIS done all of this? One very simple reason. They are making these changes to ensure that they do not get saddled with an AO rating. So it wasn't like they submitted the game, it got an AO, and they got it back. If they submit the game and it gets an AO, they're screwed because they don't have the budget to actually go back and rejigger the game and then resubmit it, right? So they are making changes just to make absolutely certain that the game gets an M rating. Why? Yeah. Well, because as we're probably all aware, if you have an AO rating, you can't sell the damn thing in pretty much any retail store. This is on the PS Vita, by the way. You cannot, Sony will not allow an AO game on any of their consoles, neither will Microsoft or Nintendo. Most digital distribution services will not allow AO games. Some streaming services, too. Twitch won't allow you to stream AO games. So, while it's not illegal to have, actually, NIS America's company policy is also to not sell AO games. So, where does that leave us? Here are my thoughts. You might say, well, just change your company policy. Okay, well, they could do that, but then they still can't sell it or put it on the PS Vita. So this would require NIS changing their policy, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft changing their policy, digital distribution and streaming services changing their policies, retail establishments changing their policies. That's probably never going to happen. So my suggestion is ESRB, discontinue the AO rating.
Yeah.
Let me before you chime in, let me just say one thing here. Here's what the ESRB ratings are. And this is from the ESRB rating site. The ESRB the Entertainment Software Rating Board, the ESRB, provide concise and objective information about content in video games and apps, so consumers, especially parents, can make informed choices. When you give a game an AO rating, I can't make an informed choice. I can't buy it. It's not available to me. So using the AO rating, and this isn't totally the ESRB's fault. This is the fault of the way everyone reacts to it. Using the rating completely circumvents its own mission statement. It should get rid of the AO rating. It serves absolutely no purpose. The only thing the AO does is force companies like NIS America to censor, to make censorious localization changes to games that they're bringing to other territories. Okay.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. The easiest course of action is just to scrap the AO rating, and any game that falls under AO, just give it an M, because M17. There's no, there's nothing magical about your 18th birthday that makes that that different from being 17. You're still old enough to have a job and buy your own games and whatever. So I think the easiest thing to do is just to get rid of AO. But because
does the AO actually tell you anything about a game that the M rating and the various content descriptors on the back don't already tell you?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing that it tells you that like you said, the descriptors don't. And really, the only thing that the AO rating does is just, for the most part, it's just, this is where porn games go, even though that's not the case 100% of the time. And even if that were the case, even if somebody were to release a porn game or whatever, you're still going to have graphic sex or whatever descriptors on there, full nudity or whatever. So you're going to see that. Moms and dads can look at that and say, no, this M17 game isn't something I want my 12-year-old playing.
Nudity, strong sexual content. No.
Yeah. But of course, we do have those parents that completely ignore the ratings anyways, and they'll buy little 11-year-old Jimmy GTA 5 and whatever, and let them play whatever. But for the most part, parents can pay attention.
That was also 10 years ago. I think we're past that. I have not heard of really since the EMA Brown v. EMA decision. I haven't heard a whole lot of, grandma bought GTA 5 for the little Timmy and she threw a fit. I didn't know. I haven't heard anything like that since like 2012.
Well, it still happens, but nobody cares anymore.
Because everyone says
it's not a
dummy. It's called Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, so yeah, people are paying attention to ratings more often now, and I think that's a good thing. And even those parents that don't pay attention, if they actually watch their kids play the games, they might have an awakening moment and realize, maybe I should look at those ratings.
Yeah. Gypsy Brigade says, I don't think I've ever seen an AO game. Well, that's not surprising because stores don't sell them. Also, I think there's less than 30 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 digits worth, and it's not even that many. Let's see. We can look that up right now.
Yeah, but it brings up the interest. You say, well, what about porn? What about it? Again, recommended 17 and up. Now, not to be, raise your hand if you saw porn by the time you were 17.
But yeah, so let's see. We've got your search returned.
And I didn't really even have the internet when I was 17. Think about that.
27. That's what
27,
they've got
so
on there.
Less than 30. All right.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah.
13 year cube hand raised.
Yeah, and really, most of these are PC games, anyways. We've got San Andreas. We've got GTA San Andreas, which was re-rated, and so there's actually 2 listings for San Andreas in the ESRB's database. one as AO and one as M. But every other game, we've got Thrill Kill, which was never released. That one's PlayStation 1. Body Language is a DVD.
There were a couple games that maybe would
CDI's Joy of Sex. Yeah. But that's interesting.
I mean, most of the games that are porn games are pretty obviously porn games, but again, they're already recommended for 17 and up. And this is a personal thing, but I'm totally comfortable with 17-year-olds seeing porn. I don't care, because I was 17 once and I had seen porn, and I'm fine. As long as you raise your kids okay, they should be fine. Hell, I don't know what the stats are, but I'm sure a significant percentage of at least the American population have lost their virginity by the time they hit 17. So I don't think keeping criminal girls 2 party favors away from a guy who's been having sex with his girlfriend for the last year is really that necessary.
Yeah.
So
but the thing with porn games too, you're very unlikely to see those in Walmart or GameStop or anything like that, because just like porn videos, they don't go to the MPAA to get a rating, to get the NC-17 rating. They just say screw the rating nonsense, and they release their stuff anyways.
That's true.
It's the same thing with porn games. They're not going to bother with the ESRB unless they use the free ESRB rating service. But yeah.
So, oh well. We did have one more topic, but it's a little after 7, so maybe we'll save that for next week. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, so let me just check YouTube and make sure we don't have any. One trying to come on, load faster, YouTube. Really? Okay, well, if there are any comments, I'm sorry, I can't see them. So, you can't, in the US, games can't run on the PS4, Xbox One. Unrated games.
Unrated.
Right. Yes. On the major console, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft do require games to have an ESRB rating. It's not legally enforced. This is a completely voluntary system, and that's totally cool. That's totally fine. Because the ratings are valuable. They are there for consumers like us, and especially parents, to make informed purchasing decisions. But as I stated earlier, the AO prevents us from making informed purchasing decisions and makes the decision for us. You see, we can't decide that Criminal Girls 2 party favors is okay for us. We can't make that decision. It's being made for us. What they're saying is, this is not okay for you to see. You should not experience this. We're going to change this so it's more appropriate for you. And that kind of stuff really rankles my feathers. Oh, man, that... My goat is got. Anyway, so that is our show for the week. Molehill Mountain. And we have some art. So go over to kngi.org. It is org, isn't it? I better check that. I think it's an org. That's where our show is hosted. Yes, org. kngi.org. We have a new logo art, which we had last week, but we tweaked it a little bit so the logo is a little bit easier to read, and the mountain is more obviously a mountain rather than a cresting wave. So Scott Hepling, I think is the gentleman's name. Let me make sure I got that right. Scott Hepting. You can visit his stuff at scotthepting.com, who was nice enough to create a logo for us. So thank you, Scott. It's very cool. And that is it for us. So let's plug our stuff and get out of here. Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name. YouTube. National Masturbation Month is over. So what are we going to do for the next 11 months? Find something. I actually have an idea for a video to do this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to do it because it may just be even stupider than the month of masturbation videos I did. So I'm going to probably try it tomorrow morning and see if it works. My idea is reading a children's story. I just thought it'd be kind of funny to read a Bear in the Big Blue House book.
Interesting.
Just I think it's called Dirt is Fun or something like that. So I'll record that and see if it's worth anything. It's just an idea I had. Beyond that, you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen. My Facebook page is Andrew Eisen YouTube. I'm also kicking around the idea of doing more personal live streams, because I've done a couple reaction videos for the various Ghostbusters trailers, and I'd do a live reaction to the Ghostbusters trailers, and then would spend like the next 40 minutes just interacting with my viewers and answering questions and just talking about weird stuff. So, and a lot of people really seem to enjoy that. So I'm maybe, if I can find the time or a convenient time for everyone else, I'll think about doing that as a series, but and nothing solid yet. So Zachary, plug away.
Okay. All right, you can follow me on Twitter at EasyKnight, and you can follow my game development work at DK_gaming and DivineKnightGaming.com. And if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, you can check out it's OK Game Devs on Twitter, and it's OKGameDev.com. And I'm also running for Congress, so if you want to check that out, go to election2016.easyknight.net, and that's my campaign website. So there you go.
Oh! I saw on Facebook. I think I saw it on your Facebook, but there's a. We're all familiar with the "feel the burn" phrase for the Bernie Sanders campaign. Well, independent Gary Johnson now has a poster that says "Feel the Johnson."
Yep,
I love that.
I've seen that one.
That was that's. I'm immature enough to laugh at that. And Jordan actually said earlier, I think, what happened to the shadow person. I have my blinds open. It's still there. You can see it as it gets darker. You can see it coming in there. But the shadow Mario holding a tombstone or whatever some people think that looks like is still watching over us. So this show, Molehill Mountain, is on iTunes still. It's basically being uploaded to the Super Podcast Action Committee page. I'm trying to find time. I'm working on getting a new page for it. So hopefully in the next week that'll have its own page. But if you had Super Podcast Action Committee bookmarked, the new shows are still there. Molehill Mountain is on KNGI under Molehill Mountain now. So yay for that.
Awesome.
Anyway, that is it from us. We will see you cool cats next week. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya. Bye.